The world is witnessing the rise of a significant economic and political bloc, BRICS. Once a loose association, BRICS has rapidly evolved into a major player on the global stage, challenging traditional power structures and alliances. Originally, the group consisted of Brazil, Russia, India, and China, four nations with vast populations and growing economies. The addition of South Africa in 2010 marked a turning point, making BRICS a truly global coalition that spans multiple continents and cultures. Recently, BRICS expanded its membership, welcoming Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, the UAE, and Indonesia. This bold move has amplified its global influence, bringing together countries from Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia under one banner. This expansion isn't just about increasing numbers, it's a strategic shift that dramatically alters the group's demographic and economic footprint, making BRICS more representative of the developing world's aspirations. With nearly half of the world's population now represented, BRICS has become a formidable coalition. Its members bring together diverse interests, cultures, and resources, making it a unique force in international affairs. The inclusion of major energy producers like the UAE and Iran gives the bloc significant leverage in global markets, especially in oil and gas. This energy influence could reshape trade routes and pricing power worldwide. Countries like Egypt and Ethiopia add crucial geopolitical importance, controlling vital waterways and serving as gateways between continents. Their participation strengthens BRICS' strategic reach. The new BRICS is now a serious counterpart to established forums like the G7, offering an alternative vision for global cooperation and leadership. Their ambition is clear: to build an alternative framework for global governance and finance, one that reflects the priorities and perspectives of emerging economies. The stage is set for a new era of international diplomacy, with BRICS at its center, shaping the future of global relations and economic power. The US and the expanding BRICS bloc are increasingly at odds, as the global balance of power shifts and new alliances form. What was once a world dominated by a single superpower is now being challenged by a coalition of emerging economies determined to assert their own influence. At the heart of this rivalry lies the US dollar's dominance in international trade and finance. For decades, the dollar has been the world's primary reserve currency, giving the US significant leverage over global markets and economic policy. In response, BRICS nations are actively exploring de-dollarization, a strategy to reduce their dependence on the dollar, especially after sweeping sanctions on Russia highlighted the risks of relying on US-controlled financial systems. This move is seen as a way to protect their economies and assert greater independence. In 2025, former President Trump dramatically escalated the situation by threatening 100% tariffs on all BRICS goods if they moved forward with plans for a new shared currency. This bold stance sent shockwaves through international markets and diplomatic circles. The threat of such steep tariffs quickly escalated tensions, turning what had been economic debates into direct confrontations between major world powers. Negotiations grew more heated, and protests erupted in several countries. The US also imposed new tariffs on Canada and Mexico, signaling a more aggressive and protectionist economic stance. These moves have disrupted long-standing trade relationships and created uncertainty for businesses across North America. As a result, global trade has become increasingly unpredictable, with shipping delays, stalled cargo, and anxious traders watching markets for the next sign of trouble. The US views BRICS' currency ambitions as a direct threat to its economic leadership, while BRICS countries see US actions as attempts to stifle their growth and independence. Both sides are digging in, unwilling to back down. This escalating clash has the potential to ignite a full-scale global trade war with far-reaching consequences for economies everywhere. Economists warn that the conflict poses a real danger to global economic stability, threatening growth, jobs, and investment worldwide. The stakes are incredibly high, with potential repercussions for international trade, diplomatic relations, and the livelihoods of millions of people. Both sides remain entrenched, and the world is bracing for the possibility of significant and lasting global economic impact. As the situation continues to unfold, the world watches with bated breath, aware that the outcome could reshape the future of international trade and global power for years to come. A tariff is essentially a tax placed on goods that are brought into a country from abroad. When a government imposes a tariff, it's not just collecting money, It's making a statement about how it wants to shape its economy and its relationships with other nations. Tariffs are often used to protect domestic industries from foreign competition, or as a political tool to pressure other countries during disputes. They can help local businesses by making imported goods more expensive, but they can also spark retaliation. For example, a 100% tariff instantly doubles the price of imports, making them far less attractive to buyers. This can quickly make foreign products uncompetitive in the local market. Such extreme tariffs are designed to halt imports almost entirely, sending a clear message that a country wants to end or severely limit trading relationships. In the context of the BRICS-US standoff, a 100% tariff isn't just a policy, it's a declaration of economic warfare, escalating tensions to a whole new level. This move would effectively lock American products out of a market that represents nearly half the world's population, cutting off access to billions of potential customers and business partners. The ripple effects would be immediate. Supply chains would be thrown into chaos, manufacturing could grind to a halt, and prices for everyday goods would soar. Ordinary consumers would feel the impact directly in their wallets, facing higher prices and fewer choices at the store. The cost of living could rise sharply, straining household budgets. In BRICS countries, American-made goods would become rare luxury items, affordable only to a select few, while most people would turn to alternatives. Similarly, U.S. tariffs would make BRICS products prohibitively expensive for American consumers, leading to shortages and higher prices for many everyday items. A 100% tariff acts more like an economic blockade than a negotiation tactic, effectively shutting down trade and cooperation between nations. The consequences would be profound and far-reaching, affecting not just the countries involved but the entire global economy. Businesses around the world would struggle, consumers everywhere would pay more, and financial markets could react with volatility and uncertainty. The stakes are incredibly high, with the potential for significant disruption to economies, livelihoods, and the way we all live and work. If BRICS retaliates with 100% tariffs, the economic fallout would be severe. A trade war of this magnitude would damage all parties involved. American companies would struggle to sell to a massive global market. This would lead to a sharp decline in exports and revenues. The U.S. GDP would be significantly lower, leading to job losses and reduced investment. Higher consumer prices would fuel inflation, stretching family budgets. The ripple effect would destabilize the global economy. International supply chains would be thrown into chaos. Financial markets would react with panic, leading to volatility. The interconnected world would feel the impact, disrupting economies everywhere. The stakes are high, with potential for widespread economic disruption. The situation remains tense, with global implications. In a trade war, there are no winners. Both the U.S. and BRICS would suffer. The U.S. is a major consumer market, and being locked out would devastate BRICS economies. China, heavily reliant on U.S. trade, would face factory closures and unemployment. Other BRICS members would lose key markets for their exports. A trade war would undermine BRICS's goals of creating a new global financial system. Economic contraction would drain resources and divert attention from strategic projects. The scenario creates a lose-lose situation, with mutual economic destruction. Despite rhetoric, both sides have incentives to avoid catastrophe. Severing economic ties would inflict deep wounds on all involved. The stakes are high, with potential for significant global economic impact. The situation remains tense, with the world watching closely. The path forward requires careful negotiation to avoid widespread harm. Despite BRICS's efforts, the US dollar remains the dominant global currency. Its dominance is built on deep financial markets and the stability of US institutions. Central banks worldwide hold vast quantities of dollars as reserves. Creating a viable alternative to the dollar is complex and long-term. A credible reserve currency must be freely convertible and backed by stable systems. China's renminbi faces challenges due to capital controls. BRICS' internal dynamics present challenges for a new currency. The dollar's biggest advantage is the lack of a clear alternative. The political desire to move away from the dollar is strong, but reality is complex. The dollar's reign is supported by a deeply entrenched global financial architecture. The threats of tariffs are part of a larger geopolitical game. The dollar is likely to remain the world's primary reserve currency for now. High-level disputes have real, tangible consequences for ordinary people everywhere. A trade war impacts family budgets, job security, and the overall cost of living. It is a conflict whose casualties are found in shuttered factories and unsold crops. The interconnected world means a tariff in one country can affect jobs elsewhere. Aggressive tariffs risk unwinding decades of hard-won global cooperation. The mutual pain highlights the urgent need for cooperation over conflict. Leaders must manage disagreements without causing widespread harm. The debate is about more than economics. It's about the world we want to build. Will it be defined by walls and conflict or by cooperation and prosperity? The choices made today will shape the future, with billions of lives affected.